everybody, Jean Godec from Appear, joining with my colleague Mikhail, Zavalin. We are actually going to talk about what are the services that you will put on these networks that you are going to build or are building or are in the process. This morning was focused about the network itself and how to enhance the network. And we are starting the sessions about the video. And I would say from a peer point of view, I guess many of you know us already from the modular cable headends that some of you even are using or still using. We have in this 20 years, we are celebrating 20 years this year. We have successfully expanded this modular approach of the video headends to the contribution, more to the production side of the things. And with that, we have focused mostly on live TV. And this is more or less what we're going to talk about today. So our agenda, we will talk, as said, about us a little bit and the customers that we have. And then we will talk about the live TV that really matters these days. So sports is actually the content that has to be watched live. Why is that? And what are the improvements and enhancements in the sports production? That's something we're gonna try to explain today with some cases. And then Mikhail will explain about the case where we have taken the whole chain from the production on the venue, from the stadium to the end customer, to the subscriber, reducing the latency massively and coming to the latency that is closer to the satellite feeds or satellite, which is like 6 to 8 seconds, glass to glass, as we say. So, if you have watched any of the Appear presentations in the past, I guess you have seen the customer list that was a little bit different than it is today. We still have major telcos on that list. You can see Vodafone, you can see Deutsche Telekom, Telenor, Telia, Telefonica, etc. But you will see also many production companies, mostly the ones that are dealing with live sports, and above all, also many sports federations themselves. So we are very glad one of the flagship projects this year that we have delivered was Paris Olympics. So if you have watched anything within Paris Olympics, that was encoded, compressed with Appear. So that's our, let's say, flagship reference for this year, but we have many others. So as you can see. Why sports is so important? So you can see here at the presentation, you will see the survey that has been done in US and in some other countries with the subscribers deciding about pay TV services. Whether they will subscribe to pay TV services or not heavily depends on the fact whether they are actually watching live sports and news or not. So live sports remains the most important live event for the TV services. I guess presentations are later, you can get the presentations, I'm sure, so you will be able to see that. And the latest, let's say, development in live TV sports and improving the quality of the coverage of the sports, one of the methods for that or solutions for that is what we call remote production. It has started actually with COVID, when there were travel restrictions for the crews that were not able to get to the venue. Also other things, other reasons for that. It started like that, but it's heavily depending also, or remote productions are enabled by the bandwidth increase in your networks, in the telcos networks in general. And it's enabled by the new standards such as JPEG XS. The reasons, obviously, are cost savings, because remote production means that you actually transfer all the video streams from the cameras, from the venue, to the central production site, which means that the people that are working in the production don't have to travel that much. Production is always centralized. One of an interesting example of remote production is also video assisted referee. That's also usually centrally located somewhere. It's the same thing, actually. This is another view of the center production, remote production site. So basically, you can imagine the cameras taking the feeds at the venue, which are then transferred via IP networks to the central production facility. I guess most of you know that in, let's say in the past, or the usual way of producing sports events was with the OB events on site, transmitted through the satellite to the central broadcasting site with one feed, basically, or maximum two, let's say, to the central site where it was then afterwards broadcasted. I have prepared one case that is close to my heart because I like to play golf, but also PGA Tour, which is the organization taking care of the world golf, has decided last year to produce everything in their central production site in Florida. And the interesting thing about golf TV production is that the area where the players are playing is quite big. It's like we are talking about 20 football stadium size. There are 72 players at the time they are playing, and they're playing on 18 different venues, halls, right, where you have multiple cameras. So in PGA, starting to cover this single event with 140 plus cameras, they're planning to increase, right? You have now drones camera, you have everything possible, basically. And then the reason they are doing that is that golf, the broadcast channel, right? The Golf TV channel as such, was broadcasting always the leading group. However, if you are, let's say, a subscriber, the viewer, payer of the subscription to the channel, you actually don't necessarily want to watch the winning group all the time. You want to watch your own player. And with OTT, you have actually a couple of channels of the same event, right? It's going at the same time, but you can watch the featured groups. And that's actually the reason why you have so many cameras covering so many different players, but actually it's the same event, right? Similar challenges are with bicycles racing, because it is going 200 kilometers per day and so on, the different and so on. So these are the challenges of the production in central place, and more sports organizations are taking that route to the remote production, because simply you have higher quality of the production, you have better connection with the subscriber. And then that would be all from me. And Mikhail, please.
Thank you, John, for remote production cases and how the content was shooted, produced, and what's next. We want to deliver this experience to the viewers, and definitely there are several very important criteria which I would like to have in mind when I have to deliver this experience to the audience. So I want to keep an image quality. That's a must. I want to have a stable stream. I don't want to have any distortions, bufferization, etc. So because we're talking live. And I want to have a lowest possible latency, because I want to see what's going on now. And this is exactly what was the criteria when we were working on the project with the Deutsche Telekom to implement their OTT platform. The way we tackle this challenge as a distribution challenge is that we are helping them to take over the control over the distribution chain by introducing mezzanine encoding, introducing the transcoding to do the ABR profiles, do custom integration with the broad peak packager, and optimizing the player. I will focus on the mezzanine and the transcoding part where the peer contribute the most. Here, in this particular case, the solution was to introduce the mezzanine encoding platform with the optical SDI inputs very close to the source of the signals, to encode it into the JPEG access into the transport stream and transfer over the private network to the head end of Magenta TV, where JPEG access was transcoded to ABR profiles and sent over to the broad peak for the packaging. Why is that important? Why do you need the mezzanine? Why do you need this JPEG access? Why? Because mezzanine allows you to take over the signal from as close as possible from the source, from the playout. So in this particular case, we have an optical SDI, but it's also possible to do it with the kind of a more traditional SDI, electrical SDI, or IP 2110 inputs if you the production was upgraded to the all IP or, for example, cloud solution. Then it's transcoded to the ABR using the X platform with only 2 seconds latency, and then fed to the broad peak. By doing this, Deutsche Telekom achieved their goals in terms of image quality, in terms of end-to-end latency, and in terms of service proposition to their customers. Thank you.